Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Think about your plans for tomorrow. They may include a splendid breakfast, laundry, or for some of you, choosing the right combination of clothes for a formal event. All of these are activities that most of us do without much effort. Now close your eyes and imagine doing those same activities, but now with a blindfold. How will you differentiate the salt from sugar? How will you know which button to press on the washing machine? How will you know which tie best goes with your suit to make you look as handsome as me? Those same activities, same tasks, same goals now appear more difficult. Now imagine doing this with a blindfold not for a day, but for the rest of your life. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I had to grapple with at the tender age of 7 when I lost my sight due to congenital glaucoma. Even when I was born, I couldn't see very much, and the gradual deterioration of my sight was like a slow poison that ate away the soul and happiness of me and my family. My parents tried everything in their power to save my eyes, but it appeared that blindness had been destined for me, and there was nothing that we could do except to come to terms with that bitter reality. It appeared that for the rest of my life, my world would be very bleak, colorless, and dark. Normal activities like reading, writing, drawing, walking, or even playing with children seemed like insurmountable mountains with no ropes that I could hold to reach the summit. That meant every time I would try to climb, I would often fall. On the day that I was born to an Indian mother and Pakistani father, my parents realized that there was something very peculiar about me. Not that I was a cocktail of immiscible countries or overly cute as a child, but that my eyes were unusually protruding. They tried to seek answers, but to no avail. Unfortunately, the doctors weren't of much help either. Mom and Dad, however, embraced me and took me home. As a child, they didn't know how much I could or could not see. All they knew that as a toddler, when I played with toys that fell far from me, I found it difficult to find them, and that my eyes watered uncontrollably when exposed to light. My mother, who's a very ambitious woman and overly loving, decided to put me in a regular school with sighted girls and boys so that I too could live a life as close to normality as possible. I will not delve into the specific challenges that I faced being the only blind student in that school, or there would be no end to this talk in sight. What I would, however, say is that the formative years of my life were full of challenges, obstacles, trials, and tribulations. The only advantage to being different at school was that everyone knew my name and I was famous. Though not for the most pleasant reason, of course. Normal dreams that parents see for their children, going to school, playing sports, going to university, seemed incredibly difficult for me, not only because they seemed too unrealistic or far-fetched, but because our resources were scarce and we could not guarantee that schooling me in a regular setting would actually bear the desired results. My parents, however, their unwavering faith in God and their belief that nothing is impossible propelled them forward. They knew that I had not been sent to this world as a mere glaucoma patient, but rather as someone with a much bigger purpose in life. They worked with me day and night and raised me up just like a normal child. In fact, I was even scolded for being overly naughty at school, as my mother was a teacher in the same school and often heard my complaints in the teacher staff room. My mother, who is an MBA graduate from a very prestigious university, decided to let go of her career to help me cope at school. She worked with me day and night and helped me reach where I am today. On the other hand, my larger-than-life father made me try the wonders of this world, like karate, skating, cycling, public speaking, and even driving. Though not on a road, of course. My sister, who's one of my biggest supports and delights, never fails to brighten up my days. She can relate to living in a pitch-black world, as she also suffers from the same disease. She does, however, have some sight remaining, and often describes the surroundings of new places that we visit together. Even as a child, she never failed to brighten up my days in the hospital when she brought me my favorite toys, chocolates, and flowers. During a debilitating surgery last year, in which my eyes were removed and replaced with prosthetic ones to alleviate me of my excruciating eye pain, she came by my hospital bed and held my hand. And at that time, she conveyed something that no words could express and no one else could understand. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm no superhuman, but just an ordinary person like all of you sitting here. All of us face problems in our lives of varying nature and magnitude. All of us also have dreams and ambitions that we yearn to accomplish, but obstacles that prevent us from doing so. Sometimes, our goals can seem too unrealistic or far-fetched. Resources are always scarce, and none of us can guarantee that the effort we put in to accomplish those tasks will yield the desired results. I believe that too, but does that mean we give up? Remember that when you try, you will fall. And when you fall, fall forward. Because when you get up, you're still ahead of where you were before you fell, and that too is progress. Keep in mind that you cannot be victorious unless you come to the battlefield with the mindset of a warrior. As Helen Keller beautifully articulates, keep your face to the sun, and the shadows will fall behind you. When I came to London 2 weeks ago, coming to a new place, adjusting to a new lifestyle, learning routes, studying engineering seemed like an enormous challenge for me. But I came here with the mindset of a warrior, and now I not only go to most places on my own, but also live a normal life. I study engineering with my sighted friends, do my house chores on my own, and also enjoy life. During my undergraduate degree, many people thought I was being overly ambitious when I decided to opt for industrial engineering, and I wouldn't lie. It was incredibly difficult with those complicated diagrams, equations, computer programs, and laboratory experiments. But I knew I had to prove myself. I worked tirelessly and pleasantly surprised those same people on the day of my graduation when, despite being the only one on my class with a physical impairment, I graduated with the highest grade on my batch. And that day proved to me that disability is not the same as inability. I do not attribute this success to myself alone, as were it not for the help of God, the love, affection, and support of my family, the guidance of my teachers, and the moral support of my friends, I wouldn't have been able to come this far. I proudly tell the world that even though I have lost my sight, I haven't lost my vision. For me, my attitude has always been the first step towards achievement. For some people, my world may appear very bleak, colorless, and dark. But to me, my world is very bright and illuminated, because when some sighted people see things, they see them the way they are. But when I see things, I see them the way I choose to view them. Ladies and gentlemen, all of us have goals and ambitions that we want to accomplish, and many obstacles that prevent us from achieving those. Do not wait. Go out there and fight to overcome those obstacles. Keep in mind that obstacles will always be there. What needs change is the way we tackle them. Try to overcome those obstacles, but if you can't overcome all of them, just like the ones I encounter on the pavements here, then go around them. Do not let any person or circumstance define your success or failure, because remember that you are the captain of your ship and the master of your destiny. Do not let frustrations hold you back. Use them to propel you forward. Keep in mind that kites fly against the wind and not with it. And do keep in mind that nothing is impossible, because even the word impossible says, I am possible. Be it the pursuit of weekend activities or bigger life goals, keep in mind that your perseverance and attitude can make the difference. Start with a small step, and soon you'll be leaping towards your goals with obstacles propelling you forward instead of holding you back. Remember that obstacles are challenges and failures are stepping stones to success. Trials and tribulations will always be there, but what will help you succeed is your belief that nothing is impossible. And now, at the count of 3, I want all of you to say together, nothing is impossible, okay? 1, 2, 3, nothing is impossible. Let's try again. This time, let's say it on the floor. Nothing is impossible, okay? 1, 2, 3. Nothing is impossible. And now the last time, the loudest and with maximum conviction. 1, 2, 3. Nothing is impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, that for me was an idea worth spreading. Thank you.